Director Mechanic, can you hear us?
Can we test for sound here?
Yes.
Yes, we are testing. Can you hear us? Hello?
Hey, Dave, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Mr. Cook, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Director Mechanic, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, President English, I think we're ready if you're ready for countdown.
Let's go.
All righty. Our meeting will be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Danielle. Good afternoon, everyone. Please silence your phones for the duration of the meeting. Welcome to the January 27th, 2026 meeting of the THS Board of Directors. My name is Michael English. I'm the President and Chair of the THS Board. This meeting is format is hybrid. Members are physically present at the HART Administrative Headquarters office at 1201 East 7th Avenue in the boardroom, and the rest of our board members are participating via communication media technology. I'll call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, Melanie. Thank you. Welcome to new and reappointed board members. On behalf of our board, we'd like to welcome our new HART board member, Representative Council, Tampa City Council member Alan Clendenin, is newly appointed by the HART board. Alan. Florida-born council member Clendenin spent 32 years as air traffic control specialist working with the Federal Aviation Administration, which led to extensive labor management experience. It's a tough job. He is currently the City Council Chair representing District 1, a citywide seat, and is a member of the Tampa Bay Committee on Foreign Relations and has served on numerous professional boards. The council member has lived in Tampa since 1985 along with his partner, raised 2 children who attended public schools in Tampa. We would also like to welcome our reappointed HART Board Representative Melanie Williams as a member. Hello, Melanie. Nice to see you as always. And Councilmember Gil Schisler and Adam Nebrich as alternatives. Gil? Councilmember Schisler is attending this meeting as there is a vacancy in the membership that will be filled at the next scheduled HART Board of Directors meeting. Welcome. The next item on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Seeing no one, let me move to agenda item number 4, election of vice president. With the departure of Councilmember Gil Schisler as the HART representative member, there is a vacancy for the position of vice president. We can hold the election today or wait until the HART board finalizes his appointments. What's the pleasure of the board?
I move to hold off on the election until the HART board finalizes their appointment.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed say nay. Okay, we'll do this next month. Thank you. Mr. Smoker, we're going to skip you for the nomination and move to approval of minutes from the meeting of November 18th, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Agenda item number 6, resolution R 2026-0101 to ratify my authorization for extra service during Gasparilla Parade next Saturday, January 31st. Staff contacted me with a request for extra service for the Tampa Annual Gasparilla Parade on the 31st to assist with crowd control. The operator's agreement for the TICA line streetcar system requires HART to seek approval for extra hours not formulated in the annual budget. I authorized HART staff to proceed with the necessary resources as they needed the time to prepare staff and resources. This action item is for the board to ratify my authorization. Mr. Brian Allen, HART Director of Streetcar Operations. Brian, you're recognized to give an overview of the extra service.
Okay, for this Saturday, we plan to increase streetcar service demand and also augment that with some bus service. What this will look like is we will be running express service between Station 2 and Station 10, not serving any station in between, from 8:30 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, when we will go back to regular service. And then we are augmenting that service with 2 of our vans and 20 buses, which will operate between Ybor and Dick Greco Plaza. Last year, for Gasparilla, the streetcar hauled 8,827 people, and the bus and van shuttles hauled 4,361. The rest of the resolution is in your packet. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Move to approve resolution R020260101.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian. Marketing Services Report, Mr. Frank Wazinski.
Good afternoon, board members, CEO Drainville. Today I'll be providing a brief overview of the December streetcar marketing and communications activities, which focus on streetcar service promotion, rider engagement, and media coverage. The big piece is we were approached following the renaming of Amalie Arena to Benchmark International Arena. We were approached by their staff to rename Amalie Arena Station, which is station number 8 near Sparkman Wharf. We originally provided them an opportunity to purchase naming rights for the station and rename the station Benchmark. They declined that opportunity, and so staff implemented a non-sponsored location-based name for rider clarity. So the new station name is now Water Street Station, which is pretty obvious. It's kind of the gateway to Water Street. So we've currently updated all the station signage, the kiosks, the website, and we're in the process of updating all the maps and everything along the streetcar line itself. And the station name can be revisited in the future should we land a sponsor. Obviously they're working very hard. That's arguably our busiest station. It's a good opportunity for naming rights, and so we're currently working to secure naming rights for possible multi-year agreement. So I'll hopefully come back at some point and be able to tell you that we've renamed it again. The other big part for the month of December, staff promoted New Year's Eve service. The streetcar extended service until 1 a.m. And we coordinated with city officials to promote the service as a safe, convenient alternative to driving. We carried roughly 5,200 passenger trips on New Year's Eve, which reinforces streetcar's role during major community events. The last thing, Streetcar Live was held in December. We welcomed our first DJ for Streetcar Live. And the program continues to showcase local talent in partnership with Gasper Music Festival and enhances the overall rider experience. In terms of promoting streetcar service to events, we promoted service to concerts such as Stevie Nicks, also events like the Gasparilla Bowl held a block party, Winter Village, WWE event, Brandy and Monica, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, lightning events, etc. And then finally, we had several clips in terms of news coverage. We had a great story from the Tampa Bay Times that highlighted the streetcar's role in providing foot traffic to Ybor, Water Street, etc. So you can find that in your news clips. 80 Degrees Media covered the streetcar in terms of how it serves Ybor City and ongoing activity in Ybor and downtown. And then there was a lot of coverage related to the extended New Year's Eve service itself. And then finally, in terms of, to wrap it up with advertising revenue, we just welcomed TGH on board for station domination at Dick Greco Plaza. The station dominations are our most expensive package, I guess you would say. It's not a multi-year deal, so it does not include naming rights, but we were welcoming them from, I went up last month through September at least. And so that's some great revenue to the streetcar system.
That's excellent.
Yep, and then if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, so.
Hearing none, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
As always. Agenda item number 8, streetcar system performance reports. Mr. Allen?
Good afternoon again. For December, of the 4,196 scheduled trips we had 151 missed trips. Those were caused by mechanical issues at 81 trips, shortage of vehicles at 68 trips, and an accident, which I'll get to in a minute, which was 2 trips. We had 58 late departures in December. On-time performance was 98.6. This is a little lower than normal, but most of the late departures were caused by heavy traffic getting the system to run behind. So not much you can do about that, you know. We had an accident and an incident in December. The first incident was streetcar 435 lost its pole coming into Dick Greco and damaged the platform on the car. And the car had to be towed back to the shop for repairs. And on December 26th, streetcar 431 was traveling southbound at Florida Avenue when a vehicle turned in front of it and was struck. There were no injuries, and both the streetcar and the private vehicle received minor injuries. Minor damage, I should say. We provided 18 hours of additional service in December for the Winter Village, and ridership was 124,450. That's up from 121,905 the year before. And of those 124,000 riders, 169 were ADA passengers. And we hired 3 motormen. They are currently in class. So as far as our ranks go, my staff is full with the exception of 1 mechanic position.
Excellent.
So does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you. Nice report, Brian. Legal and legislative reports, Mr. Smoker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have to report 2 potential claims that have been filed against THS. They are the result of, allegedly, of an accident that occurred on January 3rd, 2026 at around 3:30 p.m. The law firm is the Mackley Law Firm, and they have given us a notice to produce our insurance policy for their client, Kyle Vanas, and also a second individual, Andrew Comey. And I will tell you that Mr. Allen can provide a little insight into potentially the illegitimacy of these claims. So I will defer to him to tell you what we know.
If any of you don't know, all the streetcars have 8 cameras on the inside of them, so we can catch pretty much everything that goes on. This accident, it was on a rainy day, right near the port building. Car pulled in front of the streetcar. Streetcar had roughly 40 passengers on it. Streetcar struck the private vehicle and pushed it out of the way. The streetcar came to a pretty gradual stop. All the interior pictures from the streetcar show that nobody inside the car even stumbled in the accident. So
No evidence of injury, so.
Next steps for us is we'll forward this to our insurance carrier, and then they will investigate it and advise the Mackley Law Firm whether they think they have a legitimate claim or not.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Chair, a big question.
Sure.
What is the nature of the claim? Are they claiming personal injury or just vehicle damage?
Near as I can tell, well, first of all, they were passengers on the streetcar.
Yeah, they weren't in
So
these
they-
aren't the people in the car, Dave. These are people on the streetcar.
Right. So there's no
Okay.
vehicle damage other than to the car and possibly to the streetcar. It was investigated by the Tampa Police Department. Tampa Police Department cited the driver of the car. So, preliminarily, the claim does not look particularly strong. But what they're claiming is that as passengers on the streetcar, during this accident, I guess they allegedly are claiming they've suffered some injuries. And so that's basically what we know at this point.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So you're done, Dave?
I am, and
Yeah.
we'll report back to the board on the status of this as it
Yeah,
progresses.
please do. Thank you. The chair's report, Dave, I want to go ahead and take up the CSX insurance proposal, if you would mind reviewing it for everybody.
Sure. As the board knows.
Oh, and by the way, before you start, we have Bill Talby on the line, our insurance agent, who can answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, and I'll defer the details to Bill, Mr. Talby, but each year we are required by contract to provide an insurance policy for the benefit, among others, of the CSX rail line. It's a very expensive policy historically. The bad news is it's still expensive. The good news is it's not going to be any more expensive than last year. So, we're within the budgetary range. And I'll refer or defer to Mr. Talby to maybe give the board a little bit of the details. But at the end of the day, the policy expires on February 10th of 2026. So we're going to need some approval from the board, preferably at this meeting, so that Mr. English can go ahead and endorse the policy.
Mr.
Talby?
Talby?
Thank you, David. Yeah, thank you, David. Mr. Board President and members of the board, thank you for allowing me to join you today to talk about the renewal process and results from our marketing and findings. As David mentioned, it is a very expensive policy and has gone up significantly in price over the past few years. The good news and the bad news is we receive what we call a flat renewal, no increase, and which we're very pleased with for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, there's probably only 7 insurance carriers who engage in writing railroad liability, third-party coverage. And in that market, premiums have been going up substantially again, and you've probably heard about and read about globally the number of railroad accidents. It seems to be a plethora of them in the past 2 years, and just 2 in the past couple of weeks in Spain. Not everybody is insured the same way that Tampa Historic Streetcar is insured. A lot of them are on self-insurance or captives, but we are not. And I was pleased that the premiums did not go up, because what the market is telling us is there's an average of a 26% increase for railroad liability year over year. Now, also what goes into play is the exposure base. That's what they rated on. So they asked for an updated ridership, from Streetcar from last in 2025. They asked for payroll and they asked for revenue. So they want to understand whether you're growing or shrinking. We had an increase in payroll. We had a little bit of an increase in ridership, and all that coming into play, they still kept the premiums flat. So that's good news. We're meeting the requirements of the CSX agreement. It goes back many years, and although we don't agree with it, and we think it's way excess of what it should be, we are meeting that. Now, on top of that, yes, this renews on February the 10th. However, we still have some opportunities in the London market that some other carriers or brokers are looking at this still. They asked for additional time, even though we had the meeting today. So, as I'm telling Michael and David, the good news is the premium won't be any higher than the flat renewal that it is. And there's a possibility that we could come in with a lower premium for the same coverage. We just don't have that information yet from the brokers in London, who have asked for a few more days. So, I'll take any questions around this.
Questions? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you,
Melanie.
Mr. President. Thank you for the information, Mr. Toby. I just want to make sure we have exhausted all of the investigations conversations and other avenues in order to get this policy down. I remember last year we were going through that, so there was no other opportunity for us to obtain a lower cost policy.
That's my understanding. Ultimately, we have a contractual relationship with CSX that requires that we provide this insurance. In the past, CSX has been willing to actually lower the total policy amounts. So we're going with that flow. At some point, perhaps they might be willing to lower it even more. And that's something that we explore each year.
Thank you.
Yes, please, Alan.
So clarification, so I understand that the premium is the same. Is the other parts of the contract identical as well as far as limits and coverage and?
You know, I need to defer
Yes.
to Mr. Talby on that.
So there are no changes in liability or coverage rates?
There are no changes, and there's no changes in limit of liability, and not to make it complicated, but it consists of two different policies. You have one policy that is for liability up to $10 million per occurrence, and then you have what we call an excess policy that's an additional $15 million. So we have $25 million for any one occurrence and $50 million aggregate for the whole year. And this has met the requirements of CSX. At least that's what they approve every year. So nothing else has changed. It's as it was.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Bill, the one thing you didn't mention as far as no change, you were listing all the no changes. How about the retention amount? Is that the same?
Exactly the same. The retention, by the way, and that's a good question. The retention on this policy has been since 2020, $300,000.
Okay.
By the way, just to let you know, historically, back in 2003, the retention was $2 million. So, and in 2004, it dropped, and now currently it's at $300,000.
Is that a reflection of the fact we haven't had any accidents at the crossing?
I would say that does come into play. However, it's more a function of the limit of liability. So the more liability that you have, and let's just say that's 25 million per occurrence, the higher the retention will be. If we lower that down to, let's just say, $10 million, I would suspect that would go down to, let's just say, approximately $100,000 retention. So as you go up or down in liability, so does the retention limit. Now, if we have claims, or if we have any occurrences, all bets are off, and it would probably go up.
Now, when you say claims, does that include instances where we're not involving the railroad crossing?
So, well, yes, so this policy is a liability policy for Tampa Historic Streetcar. So, we have two potential claims that occurred on January the 3rd. Those are being turned into the insurance company. If nothing comes from them other than it being a nuisance claim by a law firm, then it will have zero effect on the historical premiums of Streetcar going forward. Now, if for some reason these two claims turn into, multi-million-dollar payouts, then it will affect your premium. Okay?
Even if it does not involve the crossing at all?
Even though it does not involve the crossing, that's correct.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Thank
Yes.
you.
A question as well, Mr. President.
Gil, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Baldwin Group, good presentation. Thank you, and it's good work keeping the premium static. This is a question I have for staff. Mr. Drainville, how much did we have budgeted for it? I don't remember, for insurance.
And I have to defer, I think Melanie's in the room now. If we don't have that, we can get that information.
And also, there's a secondary invoice here for the management fee, or the risk management fee. Where were we going to put that? Would that be under consulting, or would that be under the premium?
Well, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on
Okay,
that.
that's fine. I was just curious. No, but the only other question I had was in the rate calculations. Where does the CSX limits classify in as excess liability or the underlying coverage, the general liability? Or is that broken, is that split?
I think, Mr. Talby.
It's split. The policy is set up with two different limits of liability, the 10 and the 15.
Right,
The CSX is just requiring us to carry the 2550. So it doesn't fit in either, it fits in all.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
spread over everything. All right, cool, thank you. Thank you.
Did you have something to
Yeah,
say?
I just want-
It's $1 million. The CX insurance is a $1,260,000. $1 million.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve or ratify your decision on the insurance.
Thank you, David. Do I have a
Second.
second? We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Brad?
I'm sorry, I had one other question. What would our limits look like if it weren't for the CSX agreement? And what would the resultant premium estimate differential be if it weren't for that?
I'll take that question, obviously.
Don't choke on it.
So we would recommend, I feel as though professionally that a 25 million occurrence, 50 million aggregate is more than the streetcar should have. I think it makes you a target with exposure that's much less. That being said, we would absolutely recommend $10 million per occurrence and 20 or 25 million aggregate. So maybe half, and if we were so fortunate to have CSX sign off on that, I would tell you this premium would drop by probably 250,000, maybe 300, probably not 300, probably $250,000, okay? You run, in the world of insurance, you run into what we call minimum premiums, that regardless, railroad liability is gonna cost X. But we would save quite a bit if we didn't have to carry such a high limit based upon CSX's requirement.
Thank you.
Brandon?
I had a quick question on those remaining carriers that we are waiting for quotes on. Do we have an expectation that those will come in before our current policy expires? And if they didn't, is there any sort of contingency for that?
So, to answer your question, yes, quite frankly, I'm expecting them to come in by the end of this week, by Friday. That's kind of their drop dead date. And after the renewal date, we can't accept it. Once we bind the policy, we cannot undo that. Now, there's one carrier in London that has shown interest, thinking they can make money, thinking that you're being charged too much and that they can make money. They just have to get their reinsurance carrier to approve it, and that has not been done yet. I've been working on it for several weeks, and quite frankly, it's not very big for them. It's not a very, in terms of railroad liability, you're not a big exposure compared to, as you can imagine, a whole system.
Sure. I guess then I would offer the friendly amendment, depending on how the motion is actually worded, that we would approve the chairman's execution of the renewal pending the receipt of any additional quotes that may be below that.
In which
current
case, I would be authorized to sign a revised proposal.
Correct, yes.
Perfect.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Bill.
Thank
As
you.
always.
I'll be in touch, Michael and David. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Smoker. Chair's report, two things. Brandon, could you give us an update on the streetcar extension study, please?
Certainly, yes. Thank you for asking. This is a timely request in that we've actually this month provided 2 different reports to City Council on our ongoing project development effort for the streetcar extension study. The first was a written report. It's a quarterly report. It was last week, and then the second is part of our more comprehensive major projects written report for this week. I don't anticipate any discussion on it this week in council, but it is part of this week's agenda. So we have actually 2 different ongoing work orders with a consultant HDR. I think several of you have probably interacted with Steve Shoecraft with HDR on previous efforts. He's leading that on our behalf as our consultant. The first is a study of the existing special assessment. I believe, if I remember correctly, it currently brings in about $1.7 million. He is looking at the potential range of options for us to modify that special assessment, considering the future alignment, the additional area that the streetcar itself will cover. Of course, we're not quite there in terms of like what we would recommend for a modified special assessment, but he is looking at what potential actions might generate for the operation of the streetcar. So he's looking at geography, he's looking at amounts, he's looking at assessed property types. As it's set up right now, it is limited in who is assessed in a way that is reflective of more of a tourist-oriented operation as opposed to a commuter option or a transportation option throughout downtown. And as we've seen the user base of the existing streetcar grow and the character of that usage change, then that we anticipate being reflected in whatever the next round of special assessments, or the next special assessment is, to be more precise. That's ongoing. We anticipate a draft report on that this spring. I think it's supposed to come in April. The other ongoing work order that we have with HDR, in my report to council last week, we had said, hey, we anticipate a draft schedule for tasks. I actually got that this morning, so hot off the presses. It's like 55 lines of Gantt chart, but I will highlight a few of those items that they are looking at. Right now, underway, we are looking at the alignment of the extension. In previous, in the most recent generation of this project, the extension was envisioned to go to go northbound up Florida to Palm Avenue and then come back down Tampa. As of right now, what we're looking at is getting closer to Columbus, most likely Amelia, and there are a couple of reasons for that, not least of which is that Palm Avenue itself is an operational challenge. It's gotten a lot busier in the last several years. So coordinating the streetcar operation with the underlying street network operation is its own challenge. There are other reasons as well, and we're happy for the potential to have an increased service area as well. So we're looking at that alignment study. And I don't know if I mentioned, I think I've mentioned in previous updates that we're no longer looking at modernizing the streetcar. We're looking at an extension of the historic replica system only. And that simplifies the study in some ways, but the notable way in which it complicates the study is that because we use a high block loading system for ADA access, the footprint of the stations is larger. So whatever we identified as station stops in the last go-around of this study needs to be reviewed because we just need more room. To that effect, we walked the entire length with Board Member Clendenin and with our consultant the week before Christmas to just get a lay of the land and look for those things in the field that have maybe evolved since the last close look. And we anticipate the preliminary alignment and stop layout coming probably within the next 3 weeks. Of course, that will be refined as the study progresses. They are also going to do an operational analysis, a micro simulation of traffic operations, which is a pretty intensive effort, but should help us to understand better if there are adjustments needed to the stops. And it could be, the things that might come out of that are, hey, it might be better for this to be downstream of this signal as opposed to upstream, that sort of thing. Yeah. So anticipate the traffic operational analysis coming this summer. And then, of course, the biggest question probably that will remain at the end of this initial task order is, how are we going to pay for it? The operations, we anticipate some potential to cover a majority of the operations, depending on that special assessment question. There's a lot between where we are and getting to that conclusion, so I don't want to overpromise. But the capital expense, we don't yet have identified the local match. As you may remember from the last time around, we were anticipating an FTA grant for about 50%, a state level match for 50% of the remaining 50%, 25% altogether, and then a local match for the remainder. That identifying what that portends, how much we would actually be looking at contributing, is also part of this ongoing HDR study. So we expect to have a final construction and O&M cost estimate by September, end of September, and then this initial task of planning to plan, I guess, is going to be completed around the end of this year. So we're making good progress on this, building momentum, but we still have a lot of steps in between now and the end of the year just to make sure that we are addressing the concerns of the system and the potential drawbacks, hurdles that we've got to get past in a comprehensive and effective way.
Well, great report. Any comments? Alan and then Gil?
Yeah, I just want to offer some additional comments on that. One, for those of you who don't know, and I know President English and Board Member Schisler was aware that after I got elected, I was one of those agenda items that I pushed really hard for. And it was because it was dead, deceased, and buried after I first got elected, and we resurrected it. But the first, year and a half or so, it was really, really slow and painful. But I would like to say, and this is to give credit to Brandon Campbell and his department under his guidance, that they have really picked up the ball and run with it. They've been extraordinarily responsive to moving this ball forward and working with council and other staff and the contractors to really push for this extension. And there's challenge. I think he highlighted there's challenges ahead, but we are moving in the right direction. And one clarification on the modernization issue: it's not that we wouldn't like to be able to modernize. It's just that this is one of those things that the cost is just so prohibitive that this is one of those things we can get this done, but if we were swinging for that fence, it would be unachievable. So we had to reach that compromise that we're going to stick with the historics, because that's what we can actually accomplish and what we can actually do.
On that note, if I may add, we are being mindful of the potential needs should a future modernization effort be put forth. So generally what that means is we'll build into the turn radiuses at the northern end a generous enough radius that we could operate a modernized streetcar on it, as well as the historic replica. So we'll have, we don't want to back ourselves into a corner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is good. I've heard about this project forever, And, and I know it's an incredible feat to do, and you've done great work with, since you've been on board, bringing it forward. Just one question. If the planets aligned and you were able to put dot all the i's and cross all the t's, when do you think would be the earliest we could turn dirt?
Yes, Brandon.
Just curious. And you made,
I gotta be careful.
You made default on saying it. You made to, say, forget about it. I can't answer that question.
I don't know if I can answer that question
that's fair.
in a way that is both accurate and honest.
Okay, but for what it's worth, I do like the fact keeping the existing stock, rolling stock. I really wasn't in favor of the modernization. I like what we've got with the streetcar format, the actual units that we're using. I think that adds a high level of I want to ride on that to the whole project. So thank you for maintaining that. I'll stop.
Thank you.
Respond?
Sure.
I think the issue is, and I think I do as well on the historic versus the modernized. Why the quest would obviously be somewhere in the future modernization is because of potential, if we were be able to have faster, more quick loading vehicles, it becomes a real transportation option for expansion and extension going east-west, as far as a future system as opposed to just the contained system. For what it currently serves and what the potential for this extension, I think the historic is fine, because it's the urban core and, and where we're servicing Ybor City and Water Street. But if we're looking for the future of Tampa, 20 years from now, obviously, we'd be looking for something a little bit more quicker loading and expansion.
Yeah, we are simultaneously looking at, what would it look like to have a better connection between the airport and downtown? What options would be available? And I don't think a historic replica would work in that scenario.
Everybody's teeth are rotten.
Brad?
Most of my questions and comments were addressed by that dialogue, but I did want to understand, I assume the modernized system has greater capacity as well as
Correct.
the existing cars.
Yes, it does have a higher capacity. And like I mentioned with the ADA boarding, that can be done more quickly. So, it helps to maintain the schedule in that when that need arises. And of course, we see every month that is a true and compelling need for the system. I think it works well as it is, but it does take a few extra seconds, and every second matters when you're trying to keep a timetable.
And then the last comment from me is a question, really. With increased ridership that could be accommodated by the larger cars, that also affects the amount of funding you can potentially get for an operating basis as well?
Yeah, so part of the ratings process with the FTA is projected ridership numbers, because they want to make sure that if they're going to put forth an investment in a system expansion, that it is serving a user base that is worth their money. I think that we will have sufficient user base for that ratings process. So I don't anticipate it impacting, but of course, hopefully Steve will tell us if I'm not correct about that.
Thank you.
Interesting.
One last thing we didn't mention is bicycle capacity. So we need to backward compatible the historic streetcars to be able to people to have these other mobility options to bring with them to finish their trips. And of course, if we were at some time be able to modernize, that would solve that problem as well.
Absolutely. Well, that was interesting. Thank you all. I have one other thing I wanted to bring up. Our meetings was changed last year to start at 1 o'clock. I'd like to see how you all feel about changing that to 2 o'clock for a couple of reasons. First place, it would give everyone a chance to have lunch before they came. But secondly, Mr. Drainville and I both belong to the Downtown Partnership Board, which meets on the same day at 12 o'clock. And so we've not been able to attend that meeting for some time. How do you all feel about moving the meeting till 2?
I'm aligned.
Sir, if I may be recognized?
I beg your pardon?
If I may be recognized, this is Guido Maniscalco.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm on the Tampa Theater Board meeting, and they start at 12 at the Tampa Theater on the stage. I always have to leave that meeting early to log in virtually, because by the time I miss a lot of the meeting if I leave to go drive to Eborn Park and walk to your offices there for this meeting. So if we were to move it to 2 or 1:30, it would help me, because and like, now at 2 o'clock, I have another meeting. And these Tampa Theater meetings that I have are always the same time as the streetcar meeting, and I don't want to run out of one to go to another and all that. So I would support pushing it back a little bit if it works for the board.
Thank you so much.
Move to
Thanks for the input.
approve, 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion for 2 o'clock and a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Drainville.
Thank you, President English, and good afternoon again, board members. So 2 quick updates to share with you today. So a meeting with the City of Tampa's finance staff is scheduled for Tuesday, February 24th at 10 a.m. This meeting is to discuss the upcoming FY 2027 Streetcar and THS budget. The attendees for the city include Thomas Richardson and Chris Hutchcraft. And secondly, on November 13th, 2025, the City of Tampa did pay the FY 25 indirect costs in full of $881,720.12. And that concludes my report.
Short and sweet.
Yes.
The compliance reports, City of Tampa financial statements for the month ending November 30th, 25 are included in the packet that you've already received. Is there any old business to take up? Is there any new business to take up? Yes,
May I
Brian.
like make a request that, I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but that the study that's being undertaken on the streetcar extension, that at the appropriate time that they come and present to the Tampa Historic Streetcar Board at the right, whether that's April or.
Yeah, I'd be happy to update anytime.
Good. I mean, you know we're all excited about this, even
Yeah.
though it's not going to happen tomorrow,
Yeah.
but it's coming. That was a nice report, by the way, Brandon. Thank you. Okay, no new business, no old business. I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. It was a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. President.